Alright, homies, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my first YouTube video, and what better way to start off YouTube than with a guide, you know? Today I'm gonna show you how to play Mistweaver, mainly for Mythic Plus, but also for raiding. I would say let's get started, right? Let's go. Okay, first things first. Let's log out. The very first thing. Create a new character. Standard. Now, you wanna be a monk, yeah? First things first, you wanna decide. You wanna play Alliance or Horde? Now, the racial abilities don't matter that much in Mythic Plus, to be honest. There are some benefits for every race, basically. So if you wanna play Alliance and you wanna heal, mainly, I would say for Mythic Plus, you wanna go Night Elf. Or you wanna go Dwarf, depending on what dungeon you wanna do. If there are a lot of bleed effects or the spells required, you wanna go Dwarf, right? Because they get the ability which is called Stone Form, so that there's the spells like bleeds, magic effects even. But then, if you wanna be more competitive, I would say Night Elf is better. Because Shadow Melt makes you invisible for certain boss mechanics, you know? And it's just better overall. And honestly, they look better. And the third choice, I would say, is Human. But mainly for PvP. If you want a PvP, that is. They also look kinda cool. But for the Horde, if you wanna play Horde, that's a good question actually. For the Horde, either you would go Orc for the Enrage, and the sun effects reduced is also good. Or you wanna go Tauren actually. You get more HP, which means more survivability, you know? And if you wanna look less at the racials and more be like cute and stuff, then I would recommend Blood Elf, because Blood Elf is the best race in the game, you know? Don't question it. Alright, so that's the races, boys. So, TLDR, Night Elf, Dwarf, Human, if you're Alliance. This is just my opinion, by the way, just to say it. And for the Horde, I would say Orc, Tauren, Blood Elf for their looks, even though their racials are a bit meh. Actually, you can restore some mana, that's some good stuff actually. And you have a mass purge every 2 minutes. But yeah, I would say those 6 races: Orc, Tauren, Blood Elf, Human, Night Elf, Dwarf. Dwarf and Night Elf are the top, like the highest. They have just too much utility to not be good, you know. But yeah, that's the races, guys. Overall, though, it doesn't really matter what you play, to be honest, because the racials have been like kind of nerfed to a point where they don't really matter anymore unless you want to push really high keys. Then they matter. If you want to go for like really high keys, I would say go Night Elf for the Shadow Melt. It's just too broken. Or Dwarf for the spells. Like, if you want to really push, these 2 races are the best. Let's go back now, let's log in. Alright, now that we're in game, let's go over the talents real quick. I would say there are 2 main builds. One is for the raid, one is for Mythic Plus. Let's go for Mythic Plus builds first. There are 2 big main differences. On the right side, in the class tree, or the spec tree rather, there are not that many changes. You take Enveloping Mist, always, because you have to, obviously. Then you go Renewing Mist, like these 2 are always there, even though you don't use Essence Font at all, pretty much. You still have it, you still need it for the Life Cocoon, right? There's no other way. Thunder Focus Tea, pretty much self-explanatory. Like Mana Tea, this is huge for your mana. Every 25,000 mana you spend, you gain one stack of this, and the more stacks you have, the more mana you recover, right? But that's not the only part. Most people forget that this also reduces the mana cost of your spells by 30. So it doesn't only regenerate mana, it also reduces mana costs for how many stacks you have, you know? Like 20 stacks is like 20 seconds of 30% mana reduction, it's pretty huge. So this is one of your best talents, I would say, to take. Now, these are the base talents that you always take, that you need for every dungeon. Let's go to the left path here. Teachings of the Monastery. So, since we are fist weaving in Mythic Plus, we are always in melee. This is one of our biggest healing outputs, together with ancient teachings. So whenever you use Tiger Palm, you get one stack of Blackout Kick, or 2 stacks, I mean. Well, 1 stack if you're not in your Phalanx Stomp or Jade Firestorm. This is the Jade Firestorm on the ground. If you're not in it, you get 1 stack. But if you're in it, you get 2 stacks. So you can Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. This says 4 stacks maximum. That's the main thing. You always want to be in your Jade Firestorm anyway. Mist of Life. This is pretty self-explanatory as well. Like, whenever you use Life Cocoon, you also give them your biggest health, Renewing Mist and Enveloping Mist, right? It's just too strong to use on their tank, for example. If they need an external or something. Now, you have choices here. Not really, but you have them. This one is more for nothing. This is just kinda useless. You want to take the cooldown reduction on Life Cocoon. That's just too strong. This makes Life Cocoon a 1.3 minute cooldown, which is pretty huge, especially for keys. You don't want to miss out on that. Now, the biggest ability we have, Jade Firestorm. This is the biggest enabler, I would say, for your fist weaving, because we are also using ancient teachings, which is basically our fist weaving ability. Whenever we cast either Essence Font, which we don't want to really cast at all, or Jade Firestorm, it's still called Phalanx Stomp here. They didn't change the name apparently. Interesting. I didn't see that actually before, but yeah, whatever. It makes our damaging abilities Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, and Tiger Palm heal nearby nearby allies. You know? And this is a smart heal as well, like whoever is lowest will get the most healing, I think. So if there's only one guy taking damage, they can get all the healing. I don't know if you can see it even, if there is like any healing target dummy here. But you see, whenever I attack, I get healing. That's the biggest talent. Like, this is mandatory and this is mandatory. Ancient Concordance. This is a very good synergy as well with Jade Firestorm. This is basically your cleave ability. Blackout Kick now also strikes 3 targets whenever you're in your Jade Firestorm, which is pretty good. And the second part is the 10% chance to reduce is increased. Yeah, that's just whatever. You always it feels like you always get a proc anyway to reset Rising Sun Kick. And then you have this. This is the second cleave talent, I would say. The first part is really important. Jade Firestorm now resets 100% more often, which is pretty good. But the second part is the biggest part. While you're within your Jade Firestorm, this is the Jade Firestorm. While you're within this area, Tiger Palm hits twice, and Spinning Crane Kick heals whenever it does damage, like it heals 3 nearby allies, which is pretty good for AoE, right? So yeah. So whenever you're in your Jade Person, you get 2 stacks. Because you're doing double Tiger Palm, right? Which is pretty good. Like, I would say you never changed this area. Now, there is a new talent, Dance of Chi-Chi. But it's very niche, I would say. It's not really needed. You don't need the damage. Yeah, it's just mainly for padding and AoE. Let's go to the middle paths now. Revival, this is just pretty broken. Not for the heal, it's rather for the dispel. Whenever there is bursting, for example, which is right now, right? Bursting, whenever anything dies, you get a stack of damage. And it stacks up, right? So, whenever you see like 7 bursting stacks, 8 bursting stacks, just revival and it's all gone. It's just mainly for the dispel. The damage, I mean the healing is like, it's fine, I guess. It's still a big heal in party content, actually, like 5-man groups. It's increased, but yeah. Just take it for the dispel. Healing elixir is just a passive heal on yourself every 30 seconds. And it has 2 stacks, as you can see here. It's just really nice to have for the healing. Chi-Chi, this is your biggest healing cooldown and keys, I would say. But we will go to the rotation later. Yeah, this just makes your damage heal more. And this is the second part of Chi-Chi. Whenever you use Chi-Chi, you get the stacks, blackout kick, and you get 3 stacks of this, which makes your enveloping mist instant if you have 3 stacks and cost no mana. And while you have your Chi-Chi up, it will also cast the Celestial Harmony, a breath that heals every party member pretty much. So it's just a big heal for the whole group. And also, the second part is a big part actually. Whenever you use Chi-Chi, everyone gets a Chi Cocoon. It's not the same life cocoon, it's a Chi Cocoon, okay? So it's not the same strength. But it's still an almost 300k shield for everyone. Which is pretty fucking good, you know? And then you go Miswrap. This is just healing output. It's better than Refreshing Jade Wind. It's just like Refreshing Jade Wind used to be good in older expansions, but now it's just meh. But in the next expansion, the War Within expansion, it's gonna be good again. But for now we take Miswrap. It's just longer duration on our enveloping mist and more healing. And here's the fist weaving card. We always take this in keys. In raids you can take this, but in keys you wanna fist weave, you take this. It's just whenever you do damage you heal. And while this is active you also gain 5% stamina, which is really good. Now here, no options. Always take the reduced cooldown on Chi-Chi. For keys at least. Even for raids I would take this instead of this. Jade Bond is just harder to play. And it's... I don't think it's good. I would say just take this, reduced cooldown by 2 minutes, which is huge. It makes your Chi-Chi a 1 minute cooldown instead of a 3 minute cooldown. But the downside is it decreases the duration to 12 seconds. But that's not a big deal. That's I can work with that. It's fine. Now there is one difference now. Either you take Secret Infusion 1 point, which will make your Thunder Focus Tea give you a stat depending on what you use. So in high keys, you always take this for the versatility. With 8% verse, can save you from life and death, you know. But on low keys, you can take this away and take Dance of Chi instead, since you don't need the tankiness, I would say. So Dance of Chi is pretty good for damage. But since I'm doing high keys, I will take Secret Infusion all days, not all days, but always, every day. And yeah, I would take Secret Infusion always. Pretty much like, I would say 9 times out of 10 I would take Secret Infusion. Because Dance of Chi is just meh. I'm not using it at all. Like, I use Dance of Chi when it's like super low keys, like weekly keys for example. But yeah, other than that, Secret Infusion gives you tankiness. You can even get haste if you need it. I wouldn't use it on Vivify because Mastery is like meh. And Enveloping Mist, it can be good for the crits, but the main reason is the haste or the verse. Actually, the main reason is the verse. You want the 8% verse to survive shit. Alright, let's go to the right path, yeah? No, this is a talent you always want to take. This is just... it makes your Vivify cleave heal. People who have Renewing Mist on them, they get also healed, like, that's pretty good. Zen Pulse. Now this talent is gonna be gone next expansion in the war with them. But for now we can take it. It's a nice burst damage, I would say. Together with this, it makes like proc twice. So if you use it now, it's like, you see, it's only once. It procced only once. But if you have this, so you have Enveloping Mist, and then you use Zen Pulse, it procs twice. So it does double damage, even though it's only 80% effective. So you can take these two talents pretty much always, unless you want more healing. So if you don't want the damage, you can also go Uplifted Spirits, reduce the cooldown on the Revival, not Vivify, on Revival, and give Revival a hot, which is pretty good as well. But then you have one talent to spare, right? Now this talent point you can use for whatever is needed. Like, for example, you can use it for this. Give your tank more tankiness. Like, this makes the life cocoon a bigger external. So yeah, if you need more healing, I would go like this. But if you want damage, go like this. Difference isn't too huge anyway, so... Rapid Diffusion. This is also pretty nice to have. You take this always pretty much, just to get to Shire Wounds and to Energizing Brew. This makes your Rising Sun Kick and Enveloping Mist apply Renewing Mist on the target, or to whoever is in need of a heal. So pretty much if you use Jade Firestorm, Rising Sun Kick, you should get a Renewing Mist. I didn't get it there, I don't know why, but you know, you should get it. Let's take this always. Energizing Brew. Mana now channels 50% faster and generates 20% more mana. Pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. In raids you want this, in keys you want this. Because in raids you play the Mistweaver, you want this instead. But since you play in keys, you don't use this, you use this. Energizing Brew is just too good. And it slows you less, like, that's the main part, it slows you less. The mana is whatever, but the slow is the big part. Now, Shailun's Gift, you always take this in raids and in Mythic Plus. This is one of your biggest burst heals outside of Chi. So whenever you're in combat, there's gonna be like these cloud of mists on the ground. You can't interact with them at all, they're just there. Those are the stacks for your Shylons basically. And yeah, that's basically it. Like Shylons, the more stacks you have, the more it heals, right? So you wanna use this at, I would say, 6 to 10 stacks mainly. You can use it on sorry, you can use it on less stacks as well, but it's not a big heal then, you know. Now we have Veil of Pride and Show House Lessons. In keys, I would always use Veil of Pride. No questions asked. It just makes Shadowlands even better. And instead of waiting 8 seconds, I think, you wait 4 seconds for the clouds. It's just too big. But for raids, I would use Show House Lessons. This just gives you a big buff whenever you use Shadowlands Gift. Now the buffs you're looking for is mainly the haste one. So, Lesson of Fear, it's called. That's your biggest buff in raids. And the Lesson of Doubt is also pretty good. Basically all of the buffs are good. It just depends on the situation, but I would use this whenever I'm raiding. This is for the Mythic Plus though. Rising Mist. This is just your Mistweaving heal. It heals all allies with your Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, or Essence Wand. And it also increases their duration of those hots. Even for Essence Wand. Essence Wand is also applied by Jade Firestone, by the way, if you hit allies with it. Tear of the Morning is more for cast weaving, for raids. It's just more healing output. Legacy of the Wisdom. This is mainly for dungeons. Although you can also use it in raids. I wouldn't recommend it though. In raids you don't use Shadowlands as a big heal, it's more like a buff generator, I would say, for your Yulon windows, since you play Yulon in raids. But in keys you always take this. It makes Shylons heal all of your party members, and the cast time is reduced. It's like pretty good. Reduce cast time and more heal. Pretty fucking good, man. So yeah, I would use this build for pretty much every key. I would say this is like the standard build. Alright, let's go to the class tree. Class tree, I wouldn't change anything. Like, this is the main build. Now, there is two differences. Either you can go damage, so you go the Touch of Death talents, or you go tankiness, which is like this. This is a tankiness and healing build, I would say. It's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. Like, Paralyze, pretty good. Interrupt, or if you want to CC and ring something for a skip, pretty good. Tiger's Lust, pretty much a freedom for whoever needs it. Rising Sun Kick is your biggest Fizz-Weaving heal. Calming Presence, this is not needed at all. Although this got buffed recently, so 6% reduced damage taken is pretty good. Soothing Mist, you don't have a choice. This is just default, but you don't use Soothing Mist at all, pretty much in keys, unless you don't have any other way. But yeah, this is Soothing Mist just costs too much mana. Like, if you have to start channeling and spam healing, it's pretty bad. But yeah, improve Vivify, pretty good. Just more Vivify healing, right? This is also pretty fucking good. Vivacious Vivification. I can't even say the word. Vivacious Vivification. Every 10 seconds, you get an instant Vivify. Pretty good, man. Spell needed for pretty much every dungeon. More damage. We always want more damage, right? Kick. Kick is huge. Please kick in your dungeons. Thank you. 45 brew. Now this talent is very controversial, I would say. It has a 6-minute cooldown, and the benefits you gain are pretty minor, I would say. But hey, it's just one more defensive, so why not? Take it and leave it. Transcendence. This is more advanced, I would say. It's mainly to cheese mechanics, I would say. But the other main reason is to get Ring of Peace, right? Big knockback, pretty good for pretty much anything. You never take Song of Chi-Chi unless, like last season, you took Song of Chi-Chi for some dungeons, but it's more like a niche, I would say. Chi Burst. Personally, I don't like this talent, but we need it. This is the main ability to reset our Jade Firestone if we cannot be in melee. This one is whatever. You don't care about this. You care more about this. Your allies and you take more healing. Big. Let's go down this path. 4% avoidance for you and your whole group. That's just pretty good. This one you don't really need. I just take it for the damage. It just makes my Touch of Death be usable earlier. More touch cooldown, or like less touch cooldown rather. Pretty good for executes. Resonant Fists got nerfed, but it's still pretty good for damage if you want to do AoE damage. I would only use this for fortified weeks though. Like this build, mainly fortified build. Dampen Harm, big defensive. Eye of the Tiger, we need this for the trinket that we are using. And Diffuse Magic, always. Yulon's Grace is good for raids, but Diffuse Magic and keys. The amount of damage this can do, if you use it correctly, is pretty good. This is this is fortified week, I would say. Also, for a week that doesn't require much healing. But if you're a beginner and you wanna learn how to heal first, I would say go the healing build. So you take cooldown reduce on Fortifying Brew. This is whatever, you don't really need this. It's just a big self-heal from Expel Harm. Bounce back is good. And save them all. So you can decide if you want 2 points in save them all or 2 points in bounce back. Save them all is generally better. But you can also take this bounce back if you want it. So yeah, this is the mainly for the Tyrannical week, where bosses last longer, do more damage, so you need more healing, right? But other than that, I always stick with this build for fortified week at least, or for easier keys. So yeah, this is the Mythic Plus build. And now let's check out the raid build as well. Real quick, I'm not gonna go over all the talents again, but just real quick. So the main differences, as you can see, no damage at all. Because we're not fist weaving, we are just in ranged casting. One more roll charge, why not, right? Summon Jade Serpent. Pretty mandatory with the new builds. Or well, kinda new build, it's not that new anymore. But yeah, as you can see, the main difference is we're taking Yulon this time. This is gonna be our biggest heal in raids. We're taking Dancing Mists just to spread Renewing Mist even more in the raid. Invoker's Delight, this is like a big haste buff whenever we use our Yulon, which is pretty good. Now there is Unison and Clouded Focus. This is like whenever we channel, we gain some buffs, some big buffs. Unison is just Soothing Mist also heals one more target, pretty good. Clouded Focus is getting removed next expansion because it's kinda clunky to use, not gonna lie. It's just more healing, but it's kinda weird to use. And now we got this talent as well. This is a new talent that came with this patch. And it's pretty fucking OP, man. It basically makes your casts instant. Like, when I cast this on me, it's instant. As if I'm channeling Soothing Mist. But now, if I want to heal this guy, I can instantly heal him. As long as my Soothing Mist is active. You see? That's pretty OP. So you don't have to cast, like recast Soothing Mist on the target like this and then use the ability. You can instantly use the ability. It's mainly for Enveloping Mist and Vivify. So yeah, this is the main build for raids, I would say. They also call this the no damage build. Because basically you don't do damage, this is mainly healing. But yeah, let's go back to healing, I mean to Mythic Plus build. Those are the talents actually, like not many differences I would say, not many changes, you know. One is the cast weaving, one is the fist weaving. You don't have many choices, that's what I was gonna say. Not many choices when it comes to talents. But yeah, that's pretty much for the talents. Let's go to the next section. Stats. Now stats is very controversial. People say sim yourself, but simming healing is a bit different than simming DPS, right? So as a rough guideline, I would say 30% haste, even though I don't have it. I will have it with like buffs and stuff, but that's something else. So for Mythic Plus, I would say 30% haste. I have way too much first, by the way. 30% haste. For high keys, I would say around 35% verse. And the rest you can dump into crits. You don't want mastery ever for any situation. Even though it's the biggest heal benefit, it's not needed. So yeah, 30% haste, 35% verse roughly, and rest goes into crit. Embellishments. Now I only have one embellishment because I'm mainly playing Windwalker in raids, and I haven't had enough sparks to craft Mistweaver embellishments. But the biggest embellishment you need is Elemental Lariat. It's just the biggest healing gain, I would say. And the second one, the second embellishment you quote-unquote need is the Verdant Tether. This is a very minor verse buff for you and one ally whenever you heal. But it's not really needed, like, it's very minor. It's still tankiness though, so that is pretty good. But overall, yeah, 30% haste, 35% verse, rest goes into crit. That's it pretty much. You want 4 set, of course. This ring, I'm still testing this ring. I'm not sure if it's good for Mistweaver. Now, trinkets and weapons. If you are lucky enough and you did Dawn of the Infinite, which was the last season dungeon, you can still do it on hard modes and gain heroic item level. This is just normal mythic, but there is also hard mode. But if you're lucky enough to get this staff, use it in every situation. It's just too big. It's a stronger touch of death, basically. But if you're not lucky enough to get it, the next weapon I would recommend is getting Grimbinder Loom of the Great Cycle. This is also pretty good for damage. It's like a riddle, but a bit worse, I would say. Even though it's... yeah, it can be good, I guess. Both are there, like both of these weapons are pretty good. I think I'm gonna go for this as well later on. But this just says haste first, right? What I need. So yeah, let's keep going. Like, this doesn't matter, just take whatever's highest item level and has good stats. Trinkets. Now, trinkets, we have some options. For Mythic Plus, you always want to use Ferox's Tainted Heart. It's just damage, verse, and the on use is pretty OP. 1.5 million damage shield. So when there is a big boss hit, just use it. It can save you from every situation pretty much. And the damage is pretty OP. Now the second slot, you have some options actually. I got lucky with the Tome of Unstable Power. This is a pretty fucking OP talent. I mean, not talent, trinket. But it only works if you have this. As it says here, it's harmful spells. This doesn't include your Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick, or Tiger Palm. It only includes magic damage, you know? So, G-Burst, Eye of the Tiger. I don't know if Resonant Fists can proc it as well, I don't think so. But your main proc is Eye of the Tiger. Just make sure you have Eye of the Tiger on the target at all times. And they will get big AoE damage. And the other trinkets. Now we have some options. For raids you want Smoldering Seedling and your class trinkets at all times. These two are just too strong to not have on raids. Other than that, I would say Chromatic Essence if your group has it. Or the trinket from Nokhut Offense, which gives a big shield for the whole party, which is pretty good. And that's it, I would say, like these two, and these two. I always use these two for keys though, because damage is just too broken. Too broken damage. Yeah, that's it for the gear and trinkets. Now the biggest part, rotation and cooldowns. Rotation is pretty simple. On one target, Jade Firestorm at all times and keys. Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick. Easy. Now, you wanna use Rising Sun Kick on cooldown, pretty much. And whenever you gain a reset, just use it again. That's your biggest heal. This is like the easy rotation. Now you can also combine it with Thunderful Fist into Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, another Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick. Boom, big damage. Now for your GG window, I always go Jade Firestorm. I get 4 stacks of this, then I GG when I can. Blackout Kick, insta Enveloping Mist, Rising Sun Kick to extend the hot. Easy. But for your whole group, I would go GG, 2 stacks of Blackout Kick, and then Blackout Kick, insta Vivify whoever is low. I will pump again for 2 stacks, Blackout Kick again, insta Enveloping Mist again to whoever, like pretty much hot the whole group, and then Rising Sun Kick to give them all the big hots, you know? That's like the rotation, I would say. That's pretty easy. Now for raids. For raids, you want to use Shylon to get the buff, and then you wanna make sure all of your Renewing Mist is on the raid. So you use Shylon. Make sure no Renewing Mist is up. Then you go Yulon. You get your haste buff, and then you spam Enveloping Mist on the whole raid. Like 10 people at least. And once 10 people have the hot, that's pretty much your rotation. It's so much healing, so much HPS, and you can pretty much carry a whole mechanic just by Yulon. That is pretty much it though for the raid rotation. It's pretty simple. Just make sure you get Enveloping Mist out as much as you can, and outside of Enveloping Mist, keep Renewing Mist on cooldown and use Vivify as your main heal. Unless there is someone really low, you wanna use Enveloping Mist again, and then Vivify. And to get the bigger burst heal. But other than that, just use Vivify and you're fine. Because of the mana. Just make sure you have mana, you know? That's the main problem of a Mistweaver. But yeah, I think that's all the points covered. Now for this unstable power, and for Zemples actually. Oh, actually Zemples can also proc it. So if you wanna get the double proc of Zemples, I would say. Let's say this guy is a tank, right? What I always do in keys, I go like, I give him insta Enveloping Mist with my Thunder Focus T, and then I use Sand Pulse on him twice, like this. Always before the pull, or like during a pull even. Because the tank is the only person who takes damage, right? Like, that's pretty... You don't have to use your Thunder Focus T for it, by the way. You can also use like this. It's just a playstyle habit that I have, like Thunder Focus T, Enveloping Mist, Zen Pulse, boom boom. That's it. That's like big burst AoE at the start of a pull, but yeah, I think that's it actually. Let's talk about Ring of Peace actually, real quick. Ring of Peace is this. People cannot get through it unless they charge through it. Some mobs can charge. How do you want to use Ring of Peace? It's mainly used as a peel for their tank if they want to kite. So whenever your tank calls out for Ring of Peace, help him out and use Ring of Peace on him. Or whenever it's Spiteful weak, you can also use it for Spiteful to knock them away from your ranged DPS so they can pair on them. But yeah, I would say that is all for this video now. This is the start of a new journey for me. This is my first video, first of many. And what can you expect from this channel? I would say anything Mistweaver related, anything Monk related actually. I'm gonna be posting high keys, some stream highlights, some fails as well. Anything that comes to mind actually. But yeah, that is it for this video. I will see you guys soon, but until then, be good people. Peace out.